we're trying to make cannabis, the plant, to form these communities, sustainable communities, and try to get these rural and indigenous communities here in Ecuador, at least the basic things for sustainability: food, health, and safe water, and safe access to water.
Social Ecuador. Often eclipsed by its larger Lat Am neighbours, when it comes to cannabis, Ecuador is firmly on the map. Or at least it should be, and soon will be if Paul and Sebastian Moreno, the chairman and CEO of Ananda, have their way. Their efforts to transform rural indigenous community land into cannabis farms are firmly rooted in altruism, optimism, and a firm belief that cannabis can be a force for good in many different ways.
We're live back on, well, we're not live, but we're live right now. But when you're watching this, you're probably not watching it live. Welcome to the Lobsterpot. I'm Dave Barton, and this is Jamie Bonthron. How you doing, Jamie? You all right?
Yeah, good, thank you. I have done my warm-up week. It's officially 2023. I think I'm with it. Actually, I know I'm not. That's a lie. But we're here, and I'm very excited for who we're talking to today.
Absolutely, and I can see there's a flag on the wall behind you.
There is. I realised this by putting this up. That's a Colombian flag, but it's not on purpose. It's never political. It's just a picture that I really liked that I wanted to get on the wall. That's all it is. Okay, so there's no pro or anti or anything like that.
We just need a few stars in a little formation, and we have the Ecuadorian. No, that's the Venezuelan flag. We're close. Anyway, welcome to our guests, Paul and Sebastian Moreno, who are from Ecuador and working to Ananda. So tell us more about yourselves, guys. Tell us, why is the sort of legal aspect of cannabis in Ecuador right now?
Hi Dave, hi Jamie. Greetings to all from the belly bottom of the world. Cannabis here has been an interesting development, as we've been fighting with activism for around 10 years, and around 2019, it just became legal, following the worldwide tendencies of regulation on cannabis and other plants. But the usage of cannabis here has been really, as in every part of the world, it's been one of the most used substances here. And we have an interesting around our regulation that our laws in Ecuador allowed us to use plants as a medical reform, because that's what it says on the laws. On 2019, it just got legalized under 1% THC. And since then, the legal industry has been blooming. We are having a couple of issues, regular issues from the industry. And the illegal side is still being covered up and push it down, all the recreational adult use, etc. But we're fighting to change that, and we'll hopefully get to one of the best regulations we can in compared to other countries, especially in our region.
No, absolutely. And I think Uruguay, it's the other side of Latin America, but was the first in the world to completely legalize cannabis. And obviously lots happening in Colombia. And I'm not quite sure in Brazil and other countries like that. But I know, obviously, when you think cannabis, you don't always think Ecuador. But again, you have the right sort of climate, you have the right, altitude. And where you guys are is quite sort of rural. And you've got quite an interesting initiative that you're doing, Ananda. You're helping indigenous communities. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that work and explain how, because again, when we talk to a lot of people from different parts of the world, you always hear, we're doing cannabis, it's helping, it helps me, or it helps a person I know, or like someone in my family. But it sounds like what you guys are doing, you're using cannabis to kind of help other communities, which is, really interesting. So please tell us a little bit more about that.
We try to form an ecosystem around our people and the people that we're working with. So using cannabis as this plant that has all the resources and all the opportunities that can give us to create these communities, what we've been working, it's building up a sustainable community using the resources that cannabis can have, the attention that cannabis can bring into these countries, and also the tourism and the recreational part of enjoying cannabis, of the sacrament, the union between the people. So using all that as an excuse, we're trying to make cannabis, the plant, to form these communities, sustainable communities, and try to get these rural and indigenous communities here in Ecuador, at least the basic things for sustainability: food, health, and safe water, and safe access to water.
Yeah, and here in Ecuador, we've been we came back to democracy in 1978, and after 44 years of democracy, we are still trying to solve the basic problems in the communities. Right? Politicians haven't done their job. We still strive for water, for health, for food, for a decent roof over our heads. So we decide to make it by ourselves. We get together with the communities, and we are starting to fund these sustainable communities for the future of humanity. We are now as the poetry says, no, we are the captain of our souls. From now on, we will use the resources that cannabis can provide us to build these communities without the intervention of the state, without the intervention of the government, without the intervention of politics. Of course, we're doing all this in all the legal way we can. We have the licenses, we have all the permits, we are paying taxes, but we are not trusting politicians anymore, so we will do it by ourselves.
It's something very commendable about anything that someone is pushing, particularly when it's aimed at helping a community and a country and a people. It's fantastic. I'd be really interested to find out more about the communities that you're approaching. Very rural. We've spoken before. The thing that they kind of primarily have is the land. They don't necessarily have very many other resources. What is their kind of response to you guys coming in and saying, guys, we can help you with cannabis? In lots of parts of the world, I imagine that if I took that idea to farmers in this country, a lot of them would struggle with it in different ways, and they do. But what has been the response from these communities to the fact that you're using cannabis as that channel, basically?
Yeah, one thing here is that our culture, or previous cultures and religions, the Andeans, the Incas, all of them took plants to make the wiser decisions they made to bring us up to this moment. All of them asked for inspiration to the gods using other plants, changing the state of consciousness that they will have. So when we start talking and we start talking about this cannabis, this plant, with the agriculture people here in Ecuador, they see it as just changing into another plant, changing to another different crop that they've been doing for 1,000 years. And some of them have read about cannabis in a couple of books. Most of the elderly people, more than anything, about hemp more than cannabis itself. They have read it in some books. They have found it in some books. And we start educating the people. That was the first thing we did to start getting the people trust with us. We start talking about Nixon, about the Prohibition Act, and how all that drug on war start affecting not the plants, not the drugs, but the people who are using drugs, and how to change that, and how the historical and political reasons that hemp and cannabis it became illegal. So they understand, they see, and they feel congregated. They feel like us, as cannabis is one of the human rights that also has been pushed down as the other things, as color of our skin, gender, sexual preference, poor status, life quality, life status. All those things has been pushing us down as cannabis. So now cannabis is not just a tool; it's also an inspiration for these people to be able to use a plant that's what they are proud of. Being an agricultural people, know how to manage the lands, and having that plant help them to strive and help them to overcome all these things that they have been trying to do with the land. Now we have the tool and the plan that help us to do that.
But we didn't ask them how we can help you. We want to be part of the community. We have been working with those communities for almost 10 years. And so we have been building this infrastructure there. And what we did is try to, we can't save the planet, the whole planet anymore. We can't. There are parts, and there are parts of the planet that don't deserve to be saved also. So we have to save our small communities where we can build a future-proof society where we can have food, medicine, and energy for the next 200 years. So what we can do together with these communities and about cannabis and communities, it was quite easy to make the people understand that cannabis is just a plant. Because the first thing that farmers and peasants and indigenous people do when they are sick is going to their garden. They go to their garden, they get chamomile, manzanilla, and make a tea. And if nothing works, then they go to the doctor. So it was quite easy to make them understand that this is a medicinal plant, you know?
And also it was after pandemic, so all the people, everyone, it was really desperate to find a solution, to find a new change, a new way to start living, because after the pandemic, we can't keep doing the same things that we did in 2019.
Yeah, no, there's a lot there, isn't it? I mean, I guess Ecuador is such a kind of biodiverse country, you know. I mean, Galapagos Islands, you know, is part of the nation, I guess, you know, it's offshore, but, you know, but again, in these sort of communities, I mean, does cannabis kind of grow in the wild where these communities are anyway? Or are you kind of, you've got a kind of grow operation that they're kind of tending to, or how is it all set up in terms of, like, you know, from a production point of view? You're kind of obviously empowering people to kind of grow their own plants. Are you working with them to help them to sell that, or how is it working? How is the community ecosystem working?
In Ecuador, cannabis has always been illegal, and there's a few records about land races or original seeds. But we know the community, and we've been into the cannabis community for over 10 years. So we have people that already have at least 10-year seeds developed, stabilized, pheno-hunted here in Ecuador. On the communities, Paul saw the first cannabis plant in one of the communities. The first cannabis plant that he sees in his life was in one of the communities like 10 years ago. And the laws here works as the California license system. So we have 7 different licenses. Each license allows you to do one thing. And what we have right now in one of the communities is the license for production of seedling and clonings. And we want to capacitate and train the people to them being able to work in the cannabis or in our cannabis licenses. But we understand that sometimes it's kind of difficult to find that special passionist about cloning or about doing all the cannabis things. That's because we have think about all these sustainable communities. So if there's people that can't come into the lab, into the research facilities, into some of those things, we're doing all these other ancillary industries that works around cannabis, that it's tourism, food, housing, etc., that can give these people a chance to keep working in the cannabis industry, even without touching the plant, in case if they are against of it, or in case they don't want to feel that proximity, or they don't want to have that proximity with the plant.
Yeah, and we have another license, a license for growing 5 hectares of industrial hemp in an indigenous community, Quechua-speaking community. So we have in total about 600 families involved in the project. And what we did was a diagnosis of both communities. So we do know all the abilities of every member of the family. And we do know in which part of the value chain of the cannabis industry a family can go inside, not only as hand labor that is usual. I am the industrial. I came with potatoes. I contract everyone. We explode the land, the people, and the water. I am the only one with the money, and then they keep living in the misery. So we want to. We have this diagnosis of every family, and we can bring every family in a value in one point of the value chain of the cannabis industry, not only as a hand labor, but as administrators, musicians, artists.
Wow.
I don't know, nurses, doctors, ambassadors, brand ambassadors, because there are people that have been doing medicinal plants for 50 years. 50 years, so they can be our voice from the community to the people. We don't want this new industry to make the same things that traditional industry. We want to be sustainable. We want to be circular. We want to give back to the people what they are giving us.
It's
And then to the land.
Yes, I mean it's grassroots in every sense of the word, and for the pun as well. It's creating something that isn't just let's grow some cannabis and sell it. It's looking at the much broader picture, and with all of the sort of historical context of the country in particular, and the people themselves and their own skills. And it's really interesting to see a project get rolled out at such scale, but also at such kind of precision and with such detail. You know, you guys are really very involved, really close with these people. I don't know if you're able to share like some of the benefits that some of these people have experienced as a result of the work that you've had. Have you seen any real particular success stories that you can talk about maybe?
I think one of the most important benefits that we have created to the community right now is to being able to have these experience interchanges with the people from the cannabis community and with the other people that has been interested in the project. When we got our first license, the third month that we created the cooperative, we managed to get the 4 national congressmen from the state into the license in the middle of the pandemic. We managed to get all those 4 people plus the mayor from the town, also someone from the Ministry of Agriculture, and the Swiss representative that was the ones that donated our first milestone on building the laboratory. So we were able to bring those people to the center of the fight, to the war battle, and they've been able to see the people, to talk with the people. And another interesting thing is that the people right now, after seeing us struggle with the regulations, with educations with them, telling them about how we were in the illegal, not in the illegal business, but how we were doing this on the gray area until now it got legal, and now that we need them and we want them to join us to help us make this better. It has made all those people more empowered about their land, about their work, about the things they have. The president of the community now, if you talk with him, and if you would have talked with him 2 years after, he was really shy, really like clench up, and now you can say anything about him without him having something to say back.
And all this work that we have done with the communities, with these indigenous communities in our province, has been drawing attention from other communities or other community organizations that want to be part of the cannabis industry. So we help to the first Afro Ecuadorian community to get their license. They also have a 5 hectares for industrial hemp license. We help them. We build together their agricultural plan, and we help them with all the plans to obtain the license. And last Friday, right? Last Friday we were in Sucumbíos, that is an Amazon municipality very close to the Colombian border, where 5 Amazon organizations have asked for a license. So we have 10 hectares there so we are together now, Afro, Indians and Amazon people, and we already have a signed agreement with people from the south near the Peruvian border. So we are covering all the communities and the national ethnias inside this project, because we are doing the things for the right reason. That is what we are doing. We are not doing this for money. We are not doing this to buy a Ferrari. We don't want to be the CEO with $2 million bonus. We want to share to the people, with the people, because that's the spirit of marijuana. That's the spirit of cannabis. Share. You never say no to a friend that asks you for a smoke. No, we want to share as we have been sharing in the cannabis community.
Very, very nice. Very cool. No, again, it's that kind of empowerment of communities as well, and helping people, but not just kind of like helping, but giving them what they need to be able to, create their own destiny. And that's the, it seems like that is such a powerful message, and a powerful, who could kind of turn that down if, you were presented with that kind of opportunity. And it's great to see that cannabis, obviously through yourselves is providing that kind of, providing that mobility, I guess, more than anything else, which was fantastic. But I was going to ask, in terms of, the number of communities you're working with, the number of hectares you've got across the country, what's the kind of size of the operations that you're looking after, I guess, and the communities that you're working with?
Right now we have around 13 hectares under our associates. It's around five different licenses, licenses for hemp, for cannabis, another license for seed and cloning production on the coastal region. So around those people, we have around 13 hectares, and we're getting more in this upcoming year. We have this Friday. There's an event on one of our partners' farms. We were yesterday helping them to set up the things. It's gonna be black tuna seeds from Carlos Vives. It's the son of a famous Colombian that he now has, a Colombian singer that he now has a seed company. It's called Black Tuna Seeds. And they are going to be there doing the Congress. We are going to be presenting the Sustainable Community Project, and we're going to be with other 10 people from Ecuador. They already have a grow up with 3 greenhouses of 1,000 meters. They have plans already. I have already brought some samples to test on the Hemacert and of course on us. So we're hoping to get all these licenses, and what we want right now, it's a political change right now in Ecuador. We will come upcoming elections. So we want to do is one of these new people that it's going into the power. We want them to have a hemp or a cannabis-based program into their politics movements. We've been talking with a couple of them, and one interesting move will be to take one license or a couple of licenses into a whole province or a whole state, as we have it here. As Ecuador is a really, really small country, I think we're 3 times bigger than Colorado on population. So we can do that in a small place that has flatlands. We can, as I told you before, we can play SimCity with that part and build the enterprise, the housing, the recreational all around cannabis, and being able to change the productive matrix of the Ecuador way of system that we've been doing until now.
And we want one of these new local authorities that are going to be elected in February the 5th. They declare all the surface of the municipality as a license for growing cannabis. So this whole municipality can grow because there are small farmers that they don't have the 2 hectares. That's the minimum start producing. So if we declare the whole municipality as a license, we can do very interesting things like this project that we've been proposing, that is 1 hectare of hemp for a 150 square meter house. You can build, you can produce with 1 hectare enough bricks of hempcrete for a 50 hectare house. For that's bigger than the ones that the government are giving away.
Or social housing.
So you are literally planting your own house.
Wow.
And that's only with the stalks, with the herbs. You know, the other parts, the flower, the seeds, and all the handcrafts that can go on. It's another thing for the same family. So every family planting their own house. That's a project that we want to do.
There's an interesting thing about those, about how we're trying to give back to the people. We also want to the patients and the users get involved into the chain of value of cannabis, because most of these people are people that are suffer for terminal illnesses or really bad things, that are spending a lot of money into getting products from us. So under our track and trace system, that is one of the requirements for the regulation in Ecuador, we want to find a way using the data collection of the patients to give back some of the money that we are collecting the data from them, from using our products, from testing our products, from whatever they do with our product, and find a way to give back in discounts, in chips, in bitcoins, in anything that we can help them to come over their illness, their bad time by using cannabis, and that way they are also helping us, and we close the circularity.
No, it's brilliant. I mean, it's such a worthwhile endeavor. So no, really good stuff, guys. And I think it's brilliant. And thank you for sharing all the stories about it. I was going to say, just to kind of round things off, what is your vision for the next sort of few years? What would you like to see happen with the projects that you've already started? And in terms of cannabis as well, what do you think the changes are going to be coming up?
The THC, I think, is the thing that we all want. But what we would like is to really have the opportunity to make everyone at least try or enjoy one of the experience with cannabis, with the community, with us, like not seeing us the smoker bumps that are outside of the liquor store or park in the black corners, but see us that cannabis can do well if we treat them well, and we have the tools and we give them the things that we can. We've been discussing on Friday on this province next to the border. We were discussing about how we were going to make this legal. Well, I was proposing that, and they were trying to not make it legal. And one of the things was the things about rights, like being able to make the people that is working with us and that it's in charge of the things that we're doing, being able to help them understand what human rights are, and also the people that we are working with, being able to know what basic human rights are and being able to fight for it, being able to have the tools to overcome that. So I think that will be the thing. I will hope more, like a big event, a full week with everyone that can come and being able to share all these stories and all this thinking and all this weed that will be growing.
And of course, make all the medicines, not only cannabis, all the plant-based medicines, all the nature-based solutions being accessible to anyone who want to participate here. We have this open source mentality of sharing and getting back the innovation in the industry. We started the track and trace software a couple of years ago. We started to make it open source, so we have now the solution installed in our 2 licenses and with one of our partners that is helping developing this. So we already have this open source track and trace software working right now. So if anyone wants to join to us, not only in the software, but in all the other technologies that we need and that we will be developing, it's welcome.
And that's another thing. We are, I don't say third world country. It's
Developing country.
we're a country in developing ways. So one thing we need here is also the small gifts of the big minds, like something it is a first world technology, a development country technology that here can like change the life of a whole community, just bringing that small piece, that small artifact, that small water filter, that solar plant, something like that here can make a huge impact. Start bringing first technology that it's obsolete from already from some parts in the US, but here we haven't just seen them on TikTok, and we want that here.
Absolutely, and that's it. And it's they always talk about, was the quote about technology, is say the technology that we need, is already here somewhere. It's just not distributed equally enough. And I feel like things will change, and with the good work of people like yourselves, it will, there will be that kind of equilibrium, if you like. But no, it's fascinating stuff, and really, good luck to you guys, and thank you so much for joining us today. So hope to hear from you soon. But thank you.
Thanks to you. We do have a volunteer program established here. So if any of you want to join us, please check our
absolutely
our webpage or social networks, and hope to see you very soon here in Ecuador.
That would be great.
We'd love to.
Cool.
I'm there already.
That's it, man. That's it. Cool. Thanks, guys. And all the best to you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.